Hey everyone! Today we are talking about sequence. You should have already watched the video on the nuclear button. So if you haven't done that yet, go ahead and pause me. Pause, and come back. We're here! So I'm going to go ahead and talk you through this process. But I do want you to note that there's some words that appeared that kind of were clues to me that this was a sequence piece. So words like first and next, once the command is confirmed, and finally. These things kind of help me to see where we're going and the direction that something takes.
Only a few days into 2018, and President Trump tweeted that he has a nuclear button on his desk that is much bigger and more powerful than North Korea's. Except that nuclear button, it doesn't really exist. Instead of a button, there are two physical objects key to initiating a nuclear attack. They're called the football and the biscuit. You may already be familiar with the football. Nope, not that kind of football. It's more of a secure briefcase. A military officer at the president's side at all times is tasked with carrying it. Inside is a menu of nuclear options available to the president, including possible targets and instructions for contacting U.S. military commanders around the world. Next, the president would be...
Okay, so I heard that first. So first, he must use the contents of the football. So that's what I'm going to write down. First, he must use the contents of the football. I'm going to talk to us about what's in there, some advice from the biscuits.
required to consult with military and civilian advisors. In this case,
So next, it says there, so that's a big keyword again. So next, he must consult with military and civilian advisors.
would include Lieutenant General John L. Dolan and Commander of U.S. Strategic Command, General John Hyten.
Now that's important information, but I'm not including it because it's not in the sequence or the order that happens. It just happens to be the people who it is now. But this would change if there's a different president and different people in charge.
Beyond a few required advisors, the president can actually include whoever else he wants. The length of this conversation and the ultimate decision to launch is completely up to the commander-in-chief.
So the next step is he talks with these people, but it is up to him to make this decision. So the commander-in-chief or the president, whatever you want to call him, the same person, if you didn't know that, I'm letting you know now, decides whether he wants to launch or not, or she at the point. So now this would stop if the president decided not to launch. But if he decides, then what happens?
The president decides to proceed, the biscuit comes into play. A senior officer in the war room has to verify that this command is actually coming from the president.
Okay, so the next step is that the biscuit comes into play. And a senior officer in the war room will verify the president is making a request. Request. All right. So what comes next?
Safety first, right? So the officer recites a code, and in turn, the president responds with a code printed on the biscuit, which is actually a card that the president carries at all times. Once the command is confirmed, it is communicated to the military.
Okay, so I didn't write the process of the biscuit down, the telling of the code, and the repeating back of the code, because I said that the biscuit comes into play, and so it's just explaining what that is, but it's really not part of what comes next. So this will be the next part.
Personnel who will actually launch the attack.
Okay, so once the command is confirmed, then we're going to, so I'm going to write that down. So once the command is confirmed, it is communicated to military personnel who will launch. I bet you can all guess the next step and the last step.
Finally, launch crews execute the plan. This basic.
So finally, the launch crews execute it, right? Now we can watch the rest, but because I know that sequence finally is the last thing, so I'm not going to waste your time with that. As you can see, I've kind of written that as we go. You can't see because it's backwards mirrored, right? I don't know. They don't have a flip session on Prezi yet, but maybe they will. Maybe we'll figure it all out. But you can see that those words like first and next and once the command is confirmed, so it was confirmed, once that happened, this happens, and then finally, we know that's the end. So we will continue to work on this. See y'all later.